Our company strives to prevent all possible incidents. This is why SPD and contractors are working on the development of the safety culture. Within the scope of the Safety Culture Program, we develop each employee's sense of personal involvement in their own safety, safety of their colleagues, friends, and well-being of their families. Intervention and actions of any person is perceived as a sign of care and appreciated by the management. Be alert and careful, and do not be indifferent to dangerous actions. Remember, your family needs you alive and well. This video will introduce you to the health, safety, environment, and security rules adopted within the territory of the Salim Group of oil fields, being developed by Salim Petroleum Development, SPD. The rules presented in the video are mandatory for everyone: employees, visitors, contractors, and subcontractors. In addition to the basic rules, each worksite may have its own specific requirements, which will be communicated before the first visit to a site. All unsafe working conditions, incidents, and violations of the health, safety, security, and environment rules must be reported immediately to your line manager or the SPD employee who's responsible for safety. All cases of violations of the rules will become a matter of internal investigation. Depending on its results, the perpetrators may be subject to disciplinary sanctions up to and including the removal from the territory of the Salim Group of oil fields. Attempting to hide or misrepresent information about an incident is also considered a gross violation of the rules. Security provisions at the Salim Group of oil fields start with the control of access to the site. On their first visit, employees will be given an induction briefing and a pass will be issued. Visitors' passes are valid for 3 days. To have a permanent pass, you must take a 1-day HSSE onboarding course within your first week. In case the training has not been taken, the pass will be blocked and the employee will be removed from the territory of the field. A reminder card with the time and venue of the training course will be issued together with the pass. You must carry the pass on you at all times while within the territory of the field. It is prohibited to hand over the pass to any other person except for the SPD Safety Department employees, including Field Security Team, Road Safety Team, and HSE Team. The Salim Group of Fields applies a policy of zero tolerance to alcohol content and blood. All people arriving at the field are tested for alcohol at the checkpoint. In case arrivals have any doubts about alcohol content in the blood, they can ask a checkpoint officer to be tested before the formal procedure. In this case, a positive test for alcohol will not be considered a violation. A positive test for alcohol during the formal procedure after going through the turnstiles is a gross violation of SPD rules. The offender is given 11 penalty points, and a disciplinary punishment can also be applied. Only SPD or contractor vehicles are allowed to carry personnel into and out of the field. Private vehicles are not allowed into the field. Parking private cars near the checkpoint and on the adjacent road is prohibited. Vehicles in violation of the parking rules may be towed away. At the point of entry into the field, all visitors must declare all material valuables with a security officer. Taking material valuables from the territory of the Salim Group of oil fields is only allowed on presentation of a waybill signed by an authorized SPD representative. In order to prevent the delivery and removal of prohibited items and substances without proper documentation, security personnel may request for your belongings to be inspected. Drivers should be prepared to produce documents for the cargo being transported. Bringing in explosives, radioactive materials, and chemicals into the field requires an approval from an authorized SPD representative. Entering the territory of the field on foot with firearms is not allowed. Exceptions include the following: officers of government agencies with service weapons and discharge of duty, including officers of law enforcement agencies and forest rangers, hunting grounds owners with hunting weapons. They must declare weapons at the checkpoint. Motor vehicles need passes to enter the field. A visitor's pass for heavy motor vehicles is valid for 24 hours. Such a pass is only valid for cargo delivery, loading or unloading, and cargo removal from the side. Motor vehicles with a visitor's pass are prohibited to engage in any other operations in the field. A visitor's pass for light-duty vehicles is valid for 3 days. Prior to a pass being issued, the motor vehicle will be inspected for compliance with SPD requirements, and the driver will be issued a copy of the inspection checklist. Security and video surveillance systems, as well as Tetra radio communication system, are installed on the territory of the Salim Group of oil fields. Moreover, Megaphone and Tele2 cellular communications networks are available at the field. In case of an emergency or an incident, you should immediately contact the SPD dispatcher on a landline phone or Tetra radio at 5555 or at 7-346-329-7305 and 7-922-657-1907 from any other phone. Tell the dispatcher your name and phone number, then describe what happened, when and where, what people or equipment are involved, and whether anyone is injured. The SPD dispatcher is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When there is no communication device available, the incident can be reported to the site superintendent. On the road, you can stop any vehicle and ask to call for help. The SPD dispatcher numbers are given on the reverse side of your pass. Please add them to your contacts in your phone right now. Pieces of jewelry like chains, bracelets, and rings must not be worn at the work sites unless securely covered by clothes or gloves. In order to prevent slipping and falling, it is prohibited to wear slippers and flip-flops without a closed toe and heel fixation when walking across accommodation camps within the territory of the field. Your footwear must be appropriate for the season. Walk on pedestrian walkways only and hold on rails while on stairs. Making photos or videos outside accommodation camps requires a written permission from authorized SPD representatives. It is prohibited to use non-explosion-proof communication devices or any other devices with non-explosion-proof chargers at hazardous operations facilities marked with special warning signs. It is prohibited to log on to the SPD corporate network without proper authorization or download information that does not comply with the company's information policy. All persons, once they have received a pass and entered the territory of the Salim Group of oil fields, must comply with the 3 SPD Golden Rules and 12 life-saving rules. SPD Golden Rules are the basis of the company's health, safety, security, and environment policy. Rule 1. Comply with laws, standards, and procedures. Rule 2. Intervene if someone is unsafe or fails to comply with rules, standards, and procedures. Everyone must intervene in dangerous situations and personal safety or process safety rules. The Safety Card program is a convenient tool for intervention in dangerous acts and work performance conditions. Use a safety card to report dangerous situations, actions that have or should have been taken to avoid them, and proposals on operational safety improvements. There are various programs in SPD for rewarding employees complying with the rules and actively intervening in unsafe situations. Rule 3. Respect the interests of people around you. 12 life-saving rules are the basic safety rules covering the main areas of operations for the staff and visitors at the Salim Group of Fields. Complying with the life-saving rules makes it possible to avoid most commonly occurring types of incidents. Rule 1. Work with a valid work permit when required. Rule 2. Conduct gas tests when required. Rule 3. Verify isolation before work begins and use the specified life-protecting equipment. Rule 4. Obtain authorization before entering a confined space. Rule 5. Obtain authorization before overriding or disabling safety-critical equipment. Rule 6. Protect yourself against a fall when working at height. Rule 7. Do not walk under a suspended load. Rule 8. Do not smoke outside designated areas. Rule 9. No alcohol or drugs while working or driving. Rule 10. Wear your seatbelt. Rule 11. While driving, do not use your phone and do not exceed speed limits. Rule 12. Follow prescribed journey management plan. Attention! The company employs a penalty point system for violations of the rules. All cases of violations of these rules will become a matter of internal investigation. Depending on its results, the perpetrators may be subject to disciplinary sanctions up to and including the removal from the territory and the dismissal with the ban to ever work at the field again. Attempting to hide or misrepresent information about an incident is also considered a gross violation of the rules. Additional information about these and other safety rules and standards of the company is available at the one-day HSSE onboard training. The Salim Group of Oil Fields is a hazardous operations facility. Failure to comply with fire safety rules may result in injuries and death of the perpetrator and staff, and in total destruction of entire facilities. All staff working at the field must learn fire safety measures in due time. New hires must take an induction briefing on fire safety and accommodation from an accommodation building or camp administrator. At the first visit to the worksite, the facility superintendent must conduct debriefing on fire safety rules at the workplace. E-cigarettes and other smoking devices are prohibited at operations facilities and buildings. Smoking e-cigarettes is only allowed in designated areas located outside of the operations facilities and buildings. All SPD accommodation buildings and operations facilities are equipped with the automatic fire alarm system, whose signals are fed to the fire stations. The main firefighting unit is stationed at the OPF support base. The unit for the custody transfer facility is located near CTF operation site. Fire extinguishing and warning systems, the primary firefighting appliances, evacuation paths, and muster points within the territory, the fields are marked with appropriate signs. There are instruction sheets on actions in a fire emergency in all accommodation areas. All residents must be aware of the information contained in the instruction sheet and have a clear understanding of their actions in case of fire. On hearing the alarm, immediately proceed to the muster point designated for each facility. If you see fire or smoke, you must report it to the SPD dispatcher, notify all employees at the facility about the fire, activate the fire warning system at the facility. If the fire warning system has not activated, use your voice to warn others of the fire to start evacuation. Proceed to the muster point. You may start extinguishing the fire using primary firefighting equipment only in a situation where this can be done quickly and safely. All types of work involving open fire and sparking require a permit to work. Motor vehicles admitted to enter fire and explosion hazardous facilities must be equipped with spark suppressors. Making bonfires within the territory of the Salim Group of oil fields is prohibited. SPD Field Medical Service includes 3 stationary clinics and 6 mobile units located at drilling rigs and the G5. The medical aid is provided by skilled physicians and paramedics. The SPD clinics are fully equipped with state-of-the-art equipment and stocked with up-to-date pharmaceuticals. The clinics offer 24-hour emergency service and outpatient treatment. The SPD stationary clinics have ambulance vehicles fitted out as mobile resuscitation and intensive care units. All employees are trained as emergency first responders. This is a set of simple actions that must be undertaken by any witness on a site of an incident. The first aid at the field is administered by the designated personnel who have received proper training. Professional medical assistance is provided by the SPD medical team staff. If required, the injured person can be taken to one of the SPD clinics to be stabilized and treated before being transferred to a hospital in Pityak, Neftyugansk, Surgut, or Khanty-Mansiysk. Patients in critical condition can be taken to a hospital in Surgut or Khanty-Mansiysk by a medevac helicopter. All staff working in the field are required to pass the preliminary and annual medical examinations or fitness to work in the conditions of the extreme north. Employees who fail to obtain a medical panel certification on professional fitness cannot be allowed to work in the field. The accountability for any failures to comply with these fitness to work rules lies with the employee's line manager. Mandatory vaccinations list for all the staff includes vaccinations against tick-borne encephalitis, diphtheria, and tetanus. Any injury, however minor, must be immediately reported to the line manager and aid requested from the medical staff. Employees and visitors must be aware of the health risks specific for working at oil fields. Main risks include the following: contact with hydrocarbons and chemicals, hypothermia, fatigue, stress and long working hours of working at a computer, eye overexertion, vibration and noise, insect bites like ticks and midges, snake and animal bites, bear attacks. Moreover, there are individual risks related to a specific workplace for 2 employees' lifestyle. It is only allowed to drink bottled water and imported certified drinking water that is stored and dispensed from certified containers, tanks. The compliance of water with sanitary regulations and norms, SANPIN, is confirmed by laboratory tests of water samples done on a regular basis. Tap water is for household use only. Drinking it is not allowed. In order to assure food safety, it is prohibited for anyone to take perishable food out of the canteen and keep it in accommodation rooms or at workplaces. You can get more detailed information on your health risks from medical staff. Personal protective equipment, PPE, is designed to protect personnel from being impacted by hazardous factors related to the work performed by shielding the worker from the hazard source. PPE on their own do not prevent accidents, nor do they eliminate hazards. They only protect against the source of danger. When at work sites, all SPD and contractor employees and visitors must wear and correctly use the PPEs as defined by SPD minimum requirements applicable to the particular facility. For PPE requirements at a particular location, please check with the site supervisor and see the area entrance information board. All drivers and passengers within the territory of the Salim Group of oil fields must comply with all road safety rules of the Russian Federation and additional requirements set by the company, including compliance to the work and rest scheduling requirements. Before setting the vehicle in motion, turn on the headlights on low beam and fasten seat belts. Speed limits as established by SPD must be observed. At all the field areas, the top speed limit is set at 40 kilometers per hour for all types of vehicles. When encountering vehicles carrying large-sized cargo, you should follow the instructions of the crew of the escort vehicles. Overtaking gas tankers is prohibited, except for when the gas tanker driver signals about the possibility of overtaking by turning on the right turn indicator. All motor vehicles must comply with technical requirements of the Russian law and the SPD requirements. In particular, all vehicles must have an automatic sound alarm for the reverse and operational retractable seat belts. In order to ensure road safety, all vehicles must be equipped with in-vehicle monitoring systems. It is prohibited to tamper with these systems. Deliberate disconnection of the in-vehicle monitoring system from power source will result in the removal of the driver from the territory of the Salim Group of oil fields. It is prohibited to transfer the individual IVMS key to another person or to use someone else's key. The system may be repaired or dismantled only by authorized SPD or contractor personnel. Field roads have soft shoulders. There is high risk of a vehicle rolling over if driving onto the shoulder. To prevent vehicles from coming off the road and rolling over edges of the road are marked with signal poles. If you have to stop the vehicle, do so on the road without driving onto the shoulder. Passengers get on or off vehicles only at specifically designated stops or parking areas. All drivers must pass a pre-journey medical examination. Additionally, bus and car drivers transporting dangerous cargo must pass a post-journey medical examination. If a driver is tired and feels sleepy, they must stop in their lane without driving onto the shoulder, turn on hazard lights, and have a rest. Drivers are prohibited to smoke while driving. Smoking inside a vehicle is only allowed with the driver's permission with an equipped ashtray available and after the vehicle comes to a full stop in a safe place. Smoking in SPD vehicles is prohibited. Pedestrians are not allowed to move along in-field roads outside accommodation camps and production sites. Compliance with the road safety rules is monitored by SPD Road Safety Team. Based on the analysis of the data obtained from the in-vehicle monitoring system, the Road Safety Team awards the drivers for safe driving. Administrative actions are used against drivers for violations and may lead to the violators being removed from the Salim Group of oil fields. SPD is committed to continuously improve the environmental aspects of its operations and minimizing negative impact on the environment. Every contractor company and contractor employee has an obligation to follow this commitment. Key environmental impact factors include associated petroleum gas, atmospheric emissions of pollutants from stationary sources, production and consumer waste, drilling waste, sewerage wastewater, potential pollution of soil and water bodies by chemicals at the time of incidents, like emergencies and breakdowns. These environmental aspects and measures required to manage them are stipulated in SPD internal documents. Within the Salim Group of oil fields, vehicles may only be washed in special car wash facilities equipped with water recycling. Small repairs of vehicles must be performed by specialists in designated places equipped with hard flooring, which precludes contamination of soil and water, and where materials are in place to remove grease contamination. Major repairs involving disassembly and replacement of parts and units can only be performed in specialized workshops. On the territory of all the facilities, waste must be separated and stored in specially equipped areas. All waste containers and waste accumulation areas are marked with information plaques. It is prohibited to mix different types of waste or to place waste outside designated areas. Waste from designated collection areas must be regularly removed to stationary waste accumulation sites. Work site must be kept clean during work and must stay clean after completion thereof. It is prohibited to leave waste after completion of work. All wastewater produced on the territory of the fields is directed to the treatment facilities, and after treatment, it is disposed of in accordance with the company's authorizing documents. It is also prohibited to discharge wastewater onto local terrain or into local water bodies. If any spill, contamination, or improper waste disposal are discovered, these must be reported to the SPD dispatcher. The Salim Group of Oil Fields covers a number of ancestral territories that belong to the county and indigenous people of the North. Due to this fact, a special natural management mode has been introduced within the territory of the fields. Hunting, fishing, and gathering wild plants and berries, and tree and bush cutting are also prohibited. The territory of the fields and their adjacent areas are habitats of wild animals: bears, foxes, wolves, elks, and others. This is why staying in the forest or near the edge of the forest is a health and life hazard. Walking in the forest or along the infield roads outside fence perimeters is prohibited. Additional precautions and special authorizations required for work in the forest or near the edge of the forest during summer. During the bear season, all defense perimeter driveway and walkway gates at the field facilities should always be locked with a latch or locking bar. It is prohibited to lure and offer food to wild animals. No pets are allowed in the field. All bear and wolf sightings should be reported to the SPD dispatcher. SPD pays particular attention to the competence of its staff. Continuous and incident-free operation depends directly on each employee's knowledge and understanding of health and safety rules. A list of mandatory HSSE competencies has been defined for all SPD and contractor employees. It depends on the individual's job duties and role in the risk management system and includes both legislative and corporate requirements. One of the conditions for admission to work in the Salim Group of Fields is timely and successful completion of mandatory inductions, trainings, certifications, and knowledge tests. Salim Petroleum Development encourages you to comply with the health, safety, and environment rules at all times and intervene in dangerous or potentially dangerous situations. We want every employee to come back from the field to their family and loved ones alive and well.